Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
Today we're playing the politically incorrect beer and pretzels game, Royal Bastards.
So if you're watching this and you're looking at the table and you're thinking, this doesn't really look like a beer and pretzels game, guys. It looks like there's a lot going on here. And I mean, that's kind of, there is a lot, but the rules are really streamlined and pretty straightforward. You can get it after like your first turn. And a lot of what you're seeing here is like at the end of the game, it starts off a little bit. You start off with just one character, and as the game goes on, you get to 3, and then all of your influence tokens that you're putting out there, they stay out there. So it gets really crazy, and that's, I think, like kind of the name of the game here is chaos.
And to clarify as well, we're not talking about like you're sitting at an actual bar eating bar nuts playing this game. This is more like you're hanging out with your buddies, you're just here for a good time, you're laughing, you maybe had one beer too many and you can't play anything serious, and you guys just want to kind of go crazy with this one.
Yeah, you're all going to be, building these teams over time and just going crazy. It's very munchkinly, very stab each other in the back. You're just like, playing these chaos cards that, make the chaos ensue. And it takes up a lot of table space, but that's just because there's so many tokens, like these control tokens that you're putting out there to...
I said influence tokens earlier.
Yeah, whatever. There's all these tokens out there that you're putting out to show that you control that territory, because it's an area control game at its core, but it's just a very silly area control game. And when you're playing with 8 players, you need these enlarged tiles to hold all those tokens.
Yeah, because at the end of the game, there's going to be 24 characters on the board. That's like nonsense.
Support tokens. Damn it! I said influence and you said control.
So one of the really cool things that these guys did with this game is they definitely you could tell they've played a lot of these tile coming together modular board games, and they had the problem that so many people have of people knocking the board, the tiles separating, people are getting really nitpicky about squishing them together, especially with it being a lighthearted, fun, goofing off game. That's going to happen a lot. So these tiles, even though this is in prototype form, these have magnets in them. Magnets! No one knows how they work. It's basically magic. But they stick together like that. How cool is that? And so then, when you have this board built, once it's down there, it's set. And even if this whole thing gets moved around,
it stays together.
It stays together. All your tiles aren't all sliding off, and you're like, oh no! Who
that could happen,
had what there? But it's a lot less likely to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Catan has the thing around it, but other Rise of Tribes or something, you could hit it, and this one could slide. I can't even make it happen with this. It could slide under there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they're not all lined up, and that's just no good.
It's a really cool feature for sure. When we first pulled it out, I'm like, what? Why are these so stuck to? Oh, they're magnets! It just blew my mind.
And there was in there too.
So we also mentioned this is a very politically incorrect game, is what they like to call it, because there's a lot of political inspired people. There's a guy that looks like Obama. There's one that looks like Donald Trump. There's things that play off of a lot of politics, a lot of just
Does
things,
he look like? Does that look like Putin?
Yeah, Vladimir Putin. Yeah, he's the devil. There's just a lot of things that's why I don't know.
That's the devil. So, yeah.
But I mean, and then there's things that pull off other pop culture things, Sea Triscuit is supposed to be Seabiscuit, the horse. So there's a little bit of everything going on. A lot of the contests, there's the Sword and the Stone, which everybody's oh, the Sword and the Stone, I know that story. There's a lot of silliness going on with those.
Fishing for the great whale, drinking contest, poetry slam.
All those jokes that we get, but maybe our kids don't. But it is done in such a way that you could totally play this with younger kids. It's nothing oh man, that's super inappropriate, I can't play with my kids now. There's enough subtleties in the innuendos and in the jokes that it might go way over your head. It's like watching old Disney movies and stuff where you're they just added that, but your kids are ha 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 ha.
Yeah. And I feel a lot of the skeletons had a couple of the things too. There's one called erect dysfunction. I can't even say it.
It hits too close to home for Aaron.
Yeah. I had one. It was. You
had an erect dysfunction.
Yeah, and then genital harpies, and they're little harpies. So they're definitely here's the
Forged
line.
birth scrolls again, more politically themed than innuendo.
Yeah, a birth certificate.
Obama.
So they're definitely just right on the line, here it is. They're like, no, we're not gonna cross it, but we're gonna touch that line and make you guys like think about these things that we wanted to say.
Nemo, touch the butt.
So like I said earlier, this game is really built around chaos. So it goes up to 8 players. And I really feel it's one of those the more the merrier type of games because you want there to be a lot of chaos. You want the board to feel crowded. You want to have conflicts all the time because that's really the meat of the game and where a lot of the really wacky fun comes from.
Yeah, I definitely had more fun the more we got close together and we had like a contest every round. We're like, okay, there's gonna be 2 contests. Let's flip it up. Oh, we're having a drinking contest. Oh, we're having, a race. We're having like whatever it was that
A
came
race war.
And so like all those different things, like, they were just die rolls, but like everybody had a slightly different, you're better at magic or you're better at might. So like you feel like, okay, well, I have a better chance now because of which one came up. It's all luck. It's all random. You're still rolling dice. But if you go in there with your bastard versus your champion versus your herald, they all roll different dice, so you have different odds. And you're going to want to make sure you match up against somebody with the same odds if you're going to try and play it strategically.
And Aaron mentioned earlier the fact that this is a munchkinly backstabbing game. And part of that comes in with the chaos deck. Like Tom said, it's all about chaos. But you actually have a hand of cards that feel very much like Munchkin one-shots. Like, oh, you're -2 this time. I'm going to get +1 for this. Oh, hey, you have this new ability that's against you. And so you're constantly, like, playing these cards against each other. You're king-making. Like, Aaron and I are fighting, and Tom's like, well, Wes really screwed me over last time, so I'm going to give Aaron this buff and then Wes this negative. Now you guys duke it out. Have a good time. Yeah. So there's a lot of that, just like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to cancel that. Well, then I'm going to play this. What? And then with this game being better, the more people are fighting, this game actually really encourages that because there's 3 times during the game where everybody has to come together to one place and there's one giant battle royale. So in an 8-player game, that last turn of the game, you're going to have 24 characters in one place all duking it out for the biggest prize of the game. And I think that's really good because it prevents someone from kind of turtling in a corner and just like, I don't want to fight. I'm just going to take these territories. Like, nope. Throw them in the middle. We're all duking it out.
Yeah, well, and you don't even know where it's going to be because you flip a bastard, which shows where his hometown is, and that's where you go and fight. So, like, there definitely, like, spreads the fight around, which is a really unique way of, forcing everyone to fight at least 3 times.
So if you like getting drunk and f***ing over your friends, we're going to put a link in the description box down below, assuming that you're watching this on YouTube.
Or a card. You can click on that too.
If you're watching this video on Kickstarter, you know what to do. Scroll back up to the top, back this game right now.
Regardless, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
So like I said,
earlier.